Hello students, and welcome to step 2 of chapter 11. We're going to begin by controlling the elements within our DIV. So the first thing we're going to do now is I'm going to clean this up just a little bit, and I'm going to show you how you can control specific elements within the DIV, which is a great thing because you don't always want to be able to control only the entire DIV. You might want to control elements within it. So here's how you do that. Again, since it's inside the elixir DIV, we're going to say elixirs, space, and we're going to control the H2. So now we're going to type H2, open the curly bracket, and we're going to change the color of the text to black, semicolon. All right? And then I'm going to do the same thing, elixirs, but this time I'm going to control the H3 within elixir. And I'm going to change the color of that font to a hexadecimal color, which in this case will be D12C47, semicolon. Okay, so now let's control S, refresh the page, and now you see that the H2, which is this text here, and the H3, which is this text here. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back and look at the code for that. The text H3, yes, H3 is the heading of each one of the drinks. And the H2, where is the H2? That's H3. Okay, students, I have to pause for a second to get my bearings. So the H2, obviously, the lower the number, the larger the text, is the weekly elixir special, which is the heading at the very top of the DIV. And the H3 is for each drink. So if we go back here, we can see that this is H2, and we change the color to black. And all these headings here are H3, okay? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the line height in the entire DIV. So we're going to go to elixirs, and we're going to change the line height to 1, semicolon, control S. And now when we refresh the page, we see that it's a little bit tighter, which makes it look a little bit better. Okay, so now we're getting this DIV to look really nice. All right? Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about padding. I want 20 pixels of padding around my entire DIV. So I'm going to add another padding to the top. And I'm going to make that one 20px as well. And now I'm going to explain something here. Now, I have padding top, right, bottom, and left that are all the same. So I can save myself some space here, okay? And there's two ways to do this. Because they're all the same, all I basically have to do is put padding, colon, 20px, semicolon. And that's going to, I'll control S and show you how that's going to add a little bit here because we didn't have it on top before, but it's going to maintain the 20 on the left and right and bottom that we already had, okay? So there's what it looks like now. So if they're all the same, you can just simply put one number padding instead of left, right, bottom, top. Also, if they're different, you can still only use one line. For example, if I wanted to say that my padding top was 0px, because it starts at the top, just like a clock, and then it goes to the right, and let's say the right was 20px, okay? Then it goes to the bottom, let's say the bottom was 20px, and then it goes to the left, and that one was also 20px. So for example, that's what we had to begin with. So control S, it's top, right, bottom, left. So now when I go back and refresh it, I lose that top, but I maintain the left, right, and bottom. So that's the way you should use padding in the future. But I'm going to go back and change this to 20 all around. Control S, and then I'll get that top padding back. Okay? Okay, so now that we have this, we're going to add another div. So let's go back to lounge.html, and we're going to separate the footer. As you can see, the footer is right here. Okay, begins with an open p tag. So I'm going to add a div, id equals, and I'm going to call it footer. Okay, and close the div right here. I mean, close the opening div, and then I'm going to close the div down here at the end of the footer. So now I've created a div called footer, so now I can control this bottom section of the page. Okay, so Control S. I'm not going to bother refreshing the page because nothing's going to change yet. But I am going to go now to CSS page, and I'm going to start adding some style to my footer div. So I'm going to put hashtag footer, open curly, tab over, and I'm going to put font hyphen size 65 px. Actually 65%, I'm sorry. 65 px is definitely not what I want. 65%, semicolon. And then I'm going to put text hyphen align, colon, center. So my footer will be centered at the bottom of the page. Line hyphen height, colon, normal, semicolon. And margin hyphen top. So in other words, I want some separation between the top of the footer and the footer itself. And I'm going to call that, I'm going to give that one 30 px, semicolon. Okay, so there's my footer style. So when I Control S and refresh my page, and obviously I'll scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you cannot see it, so I'm going to have to do something here. I'm going to go back to my bottom of my code here and put some BR tags. And I'll copy, Control C, and paste a few times. All right, Control S, and now when I refresh the page, you should be able to see the footer. There we go. Now that actually looks a little bit too small, so I'm going to go back and change it to 80%. So go back to Lounge CSS, look for your footer div, and change this 65 to 80. I want it to be smaller, obviously, but not so small that you have to strain to read it. So I'm going to refresh now, and there we go. So there's our footer now. It looks like the natural footer like you see on a lot of web pages. It's separated from the rest of the page. So DIVs are used to logically separate your page, as you can see. Okay, I've got a little bit more in this chapter, but I'm going to conclude step 2 of chapter 11. Thanks for watching.